All right, I started recording now. Okay, so now we're being recorded. Hey guys, this is being recorded offline. I apologize for having some technical issues streaming it today. So we're going to do the podcast offline. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Baka.
And everybody's thrown off because, oh my god, it is now 2:30. We usually start the podcast at 2 o'clock, and we've all been dealing with technical issues for half an hour or more. Actually, more than half an hour. So that is why right now, every one of us is like, what's my name? I don't know what we're doing. What are we doing right now?
It's a bit of a different show. Sorry.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to the pristine version, we have an audio version up later. It will be on the website. You can easily find it over there. The video version may be a little...
Potato.
Yeah,
it's going to be a lot
potato. Yeah, there's going to be potatoes all over this stream. And if you don't understand that reference, what are you doing on the internet?
Potato, potato.
Yeah, so sorry.
Some people just like the internet.
Yeah.
They don't think they pay attention to
delicious.
If you're listening to the audio version of this and you're like, why are they going on and on and on about this? So sorry to you people too, because that's just taking up time of our show. Sorry, everybody.
Yep, sorry about that. But anyway, what has everybody been playing this week?
I was out of town, so I didn't play a whole lot. And when I did get back in, I did go ahead and download the Bioshock remastered just so I could see how pretty it was. And
it's gorgeous, by the way.
Yeah, I got through the basically the first main level that was there, and then I was like, okay, my eye is starting to itch. What's going on? And evidently, I have some type of allergy issue on my eye, and so like you can kind of see it's kind of saggy. That's why.
You're allergic to Bioshock?
No, I guess I got back and was allergic to my hometown. I'm not really sure what.
You haven't even gotten to the part with the bees yet. Come on now.
I know, right?
I did. That's what I recorded yesterday. I got
it was
to
like
bees.
this after that, right? Like every time I get to a part of me swells up somewhere. Like I got arms.
Lord.
Yeah, right.
You would not play that game for very long.
So
Nobody would.
That's all I've played.
Except for me. I'd be like, it's worth it. I don't even care. It's Bioshock. I'm going to play it anyway.
Wow, everything just fucking froze. Sorry about that, folks.
It didn't freeze. Like, the video was fine, but there was, like, nothing coming out of Oak's mouth.
Like, on my side, Skype froze, Adobe Audition froze, everything just stopped. My fucking went, like, no noise at all.
Is it still recording? Do we need
yeah,
to
it's
start
still
over?
recording.
I'm still recording.
Yeah, I'm still recording too.
Okay.
So we're still good. Sorry about that. Like I said, lots of issues today. It must be like Friday the 13th on Sunday or some shit like that.
On Sunday the 25th.
Yeah.
Sunday the 15th. What?
Yeah, something like that. It's awful. But anyway, continue on.
So sorry. So you started Bioshock. Did you do anything else?
Nope, that was it. That's all I did. I had a fun trip in Canada and watched a soccer game. I know you're excited about the fact I watched a soccer game.
Yeah.
I know how excited you are about that. But other than that, not a whole lot. I did eat some poutine and
it was wonderful, wasn't it?
Oh, poutine is fantastic. I loved it, and then I actually I ate it 3 times I think while I was there because why not? You know, you're there, might as well eat it. And the last time I was there, I actually was leaving through Niagara and ended up getting that with barbecue pork on top of it. That was amazing. So, highly recommend.
Well, I've been playing Bioshock as well. It's all on YouTube. You can see it there, and it is fantastic. There will be new videos this week. I think I managed to get 3 or 4 videos. I just finished my favorite area in Bioshock. No, it's not the bees, but I've already got the bees. So,
are they the knees?
No. Get out. Just get out.
Sorry,
no.
we spent too much time on Oakhart last night. Too many puns. They're still fresh in my head.
We'll talk about that junk in just a minute, I promise. Because we're not going to get away with not talking about it. But I did finish Fort Frolic and everything. So by the end of the week, you will see all of Fort Frolic. And I'm super excited because I love that place. It's my favorite part of Rapture. Fort Frolic is.
Do you love it? I couldn't tell.
I do. I love it. I just, I don't even care. Like that. There are certain things that I will be 100% fanish about, and I don't even care if anybody's like, you're being crazy about that. I will be crazy about that. You want to know why? Because it's awesome. And it feels awesome to be crazy.
As a
Chicken
joke,
get the straight jacket.
as a joke to go ahead and throw in there about the quality of the show, I'm gonna like get a little like potato transition. So as the quality drops, it's gonna change it to a potato. The more you talk, it's like the quality just went down.
Well, for
But
the video
potatoes
people,
are
it'll be
delicious and
awful.
good, and you can turn them into a variety of food.
Griff potato.
Like you can mash them, you can fry them, and bake them, and all sorts of things.
How about this? For the sake of the audio people who do listen to this completely, when it does start to drop, unless there is an issue where it completely stops us, let's just not mention it. For their sake, or else the entire show is going to be about the audio. Or the video, actually.
The audio, I think it is already about the audio.
Anyway, what Chicken mentioned earlier was Oak Heart, and no, we're not talking about Oak Tree, but maybe one of his relatives because the thing likes puns.
I don't see a problem with puns.
Puns are bad. We started Mythic Dungeons this week, and Mythic Dungeons in World of Warcraft, basically there's 3 tiers of dungeons. You can do normal dungeons, which is open to anybody 100 to 110, since everything level scales. Yeah, everything level scales. That's just your general introduction, your way to get gear as you're leveling and things like that, and to learn how the dungeons are going to work. There's Heroic, which is the next tier up, and it's a little bit harder. It's for 110 only. It's a way to get nicer gear so that you can do things like raids and mythics. And then there's Mythic Dungeons. Actually, I suppose there's 4 tiers because there's Mythic Plus. Mythic Dungeons are like Raid Light. It's 5 people raids, essentially. It's very difficult. The mechanics change a bit. There's a lot more that you have to contend with. And then Mythic Plus is if you have a keystone, it augments the dungeon somehow. We tried a Mythic Plus last night. It gave us 30 minutes to do the entire dungeon, and it was supposed to be, 8% extra damage and healing from the...
No, 8% extra damage and 8% extra health on all monsters and bosses.
Yeah, so it beefs up everything, and you have 30 minutes to get through it, and we failed.
Yeah, we didn't even get to the first boss.
poorly.
Actually, no, we beat the first
No,
boss within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because then we're like, okay, we got a few seconds. Let's just sit here and see what happens.
Yeah. It was difficult. There were problems, and it's because things change. Like, 1, our gear is on the low side to be doing something like that in the first place, and 2, there's different mechanics. So every time we're like, how is this fight gonna change? How is this gonna be different? And there's one.
To be fair, the mechanics of the fights are about the same. It's just that the numbers jump drastically. So tank has to be on her shit, the healer has to be on her shit, and the DPS do not need to take any extra damage. If they do, and I have expressed this a multitude of times during every time we start a fight, if you get hit by shit, I can't save you.
Chicken says
die.
I can't save
You're
you
doing it wrong.
because basically the dichotomy of our group is that I'm the tank, which means I run in first and take all the damage for those of you who aren't MMO people. Chicken is my healer. So his priority is keeping me alive so that I can try to keep everybody else alive by taking all of their damage. Baka is one of the damages. Fina and Kratos, who've been in chat with us, they were with us in the dungeon. They're all DPS. So basically it's like you all need to know. It's so important that you know what you're doing in these fights so that you don't stand in stuff, or you don't stand where stuff is gonna fall, or you don't stand where stuff is falling. Like, rocks fall, move out of the way. Please don't stand in rocks fall. You're dead, and it's because Chicken's not prioritizing you, because that's not his job. It's your job to not be stupid.
Yes, I will heal the DPS if they do take damage, because there's lots of auxiliary damage that gets done, and I can definitely help people not die. But in Mythics and Mythic Pluses, she gets hit like a fucking... Like, their damn tanks, they just try to roll over her. Every time they hit her, it's like getting smacked in the face by the Hulk.
And I mean, I'm Pally tank, which means I do have the added benefit of having a lot of damage reduction and a lot of things that can help I can help myself. So I won't say that I can do everything myself, but yeah, got some self-heals, some absorbs and things like that. But there's one boss in the Dark Heart Thicket, which is the dungeon that we tried on Mythic Plus, and his name is Oak Heart, and he's a big giant tree, and he makes lots of puns. And we wanted to strangle everything in, like, the immediate vicinity while doing that boss. Because not only did he wreck us a couple of times outright, he also evade bogged a few times and then completely reset when we had him at, like, 14%. It's like, you're almost dead, and then you reset the whole fight.
I can't believe that Blizzard finally heard my cries. They needed a big tree. And then they actually based it off my own name. That is just fantastic of them to do such a thing.
and he
I
killed
realized-
us
And my
several
love
times.
for puns.
It's so
I'm
awful.
famous now. I just
Like, you
I'm
don't
gonna
even
change my
know.
name to Oakheart. They just that's
Halfway
what's gonna
through
happen.
the our attempts at this, because we probably wiped on that boss like 10 times.
11.
I was like, I don't even care. I'm gonna find Oak Tree and I'm just gonna choke him to death, and he's not even gonna know why.
How
are you doing
dare
this?
you?
You and your goddamn puns.
Oh, I would know. I probably would have deserved it anyway, whether it was the Oakheart thing or not.
It was so awful. We found out very quickly that we were not ready for Mythic Plus, and the downside of Mythic Plus too is if you fail your keystone, which is the 20-minute time limit or half an hour time limit, which we did, you get to the end of the dungeon. There's no loot at all in the dungeon until you get to the very end, and 2 people out of your group get loot.
If you do not beat the timer, 1 person gets loot.
Is it just 1? I thought it was 2.
It's just 1,
So 1 person got loot.
which was me.
Not me.
Which was
Wasn't
me. It was me. And everybody else gets little artifacts that give them artifact power, which at
Which
least
means
it's
we
something.
lost a whole lot of fucking money because repairs are expensive. Repairing your gear, like Blizzard's like, you have all of this money. We're giving you all of this money. So repairs and things like that are going to cost a lot of money because you need somewhere for that money to go.
Yeah, you do 2 world quests and you've already made it back. I mean,
That's
there's.
not okay. We're going to have to do a lot of world quests after all of the dungeons that
All
we've
right.
done this week.
That's
I
fine.
spent
We can do that today.
maybe 300 or 400 gold on repairs that whole run. There is a rare elite quest that gives like 678 gold.
Well, then let's go do that
and
because I
that's-
need the money.
I don't. On my rogue, I've got 70,000 gold that's just sitting there, and on my druid, I've got like 50,000. It's like,
I think you didn't hear that part of it when she said she needed it.
Yeah.
I'll send her some if
So
she's
no,
that
no, no.
desperate for it. I mean, I've got plenty.
It's been crazy good though, and there is a bit of news that is about WoW that we should probably go ahead and just get out of the way so that Oak can come back to the conversation because he doesn't care. If you are playing WoW and you don't want any storyline spoilers, then tune out now. On the audio of this, I will put in the description what the time jump is that you need to go to. So from here to wherever we are done talking about it, I will give you the time code and you can skip ahead. I will also put it in the description on YouTube if you're watching this potato video. So if you don't want it to be spoiled for you, you don't have to because it does concern the Illidan storyline. So, I'm giving you time to tune out now. Okay, I assume you've skipped ahead, and if you're still here, then you want to hear it. All right. Oak, I promise you don't have to be completely non-participatory in this because it is this weird thing that Blizzard's doing with the storyline that seems like, and we'll debate this in a minute, it seems like they're going to change some of the lore around one of the big, huge characters that everybody knows.
The specific term that they're using is retconning, and it's not technically changing lore. Like I had to look up the exact definition.
It's not.
I had to look up the definition of what retconning was. Basically, what retconning is it is adding details to previously explained lore to fill in the gaps without breaking canon. Like, all this stuff that is going on is technically still within canon, but it's stuff that was behind the scenes that they're putting in there to make what we're doing now make sense.
Okay, here's what's going on. Here's the deal. This whole time in Legion, like basically as soon as we saw before Legion even came out that we were going to be dealing with Illidan, everybody went, "Oh my god, we're going to redeem him." Because Illidan, like half the people in World of Warcraft have a subtitle to their name. Illidan's is the betrayer. Because Illidan betrayed a lot of people, got a lot of people killed, went on a power craze, went to the Outlands, started trying to run things like a dictator, and basically was just a bad dude. So we went to Outlands as our player characters to manage what he was doing and handle him, and eventually went to Black Temple, which is where he was at, and we didn't kill him, but we let him be taken basically to Soul Prison. Soul Prison!
You know why we went to Outlands? Because we went to help the Sons of Lothar and to find the lost heroes. Because after the original invasion of Azeroth, which the movie shows, after all of that plays out, and, vanilla WoW, we do that, we handle some of the big bad dragons.
Right.
We go into the Dark Portal, which is the continuation of the war, to find our heroes that were lost back then. Khadgar, Turalon, Illyria, all the heroes and the Sons of Lothar, Anduin's great army that went into the portal to we went in there to find him, and we realized what Illidan has been up to in here.
And it's all bad.
Yeah, he's let his people attack the civilians here. He's let them drain out the oceans and let people suffer. It's been horrible situation for these people.
He's enslaving the Draenei.
Exactly. Turning them against him. He ripped... There's a hero named Akama. He ripped his soul and body apart so that he would become a slave to him.
Yeah, he was a bad dude.
Yep. First thing you do in Black Temple is to get his soul and body back together so that, he's tired of his people being slaves. So he helps you He wanted to build another moon well, or well of eternity, underneath Black Temple. That's why he wanted Black Temple, because there's a ley line underneath there where the many-face thing, where all the cracks are.
We're not going to get super deep in it because we already are. Bad dude.
Sorry. Yes,
yeah, I know, because you could be here for an hour explaining lore, and while most of us would love that...
Actually, I'll probably be here for more than an hour.
Yes, we're not gonna. Bad dude. Illidan's bad, okay? And there's always been a chance that Illidan could be redeemed, because you could see like why he thought some of the things that he was doing would have been helpful in some aspects. So it was possible to have this redemption arc, and when we saw that it was going to be Illidan and Legion, everybody's like, yeah, we're going to redeem Illidan, or some people are like, fuck that guy, we hate him. But you guys are wrong. Yay, Illidan. He's bad, though. So we get to this thing where we're dealing with the Legion. We've already kind of sort of know we're going to eventually maybe see Illidan or some sort of Illidan, because we're dealing with the Illidari, with the demon hunters and everything, and they're on our sides now. So this is all cool. We're going along just fine. There's a quest chain where you have to go and find this Naru, which is this little... it's a wind chime made of light, essentially. That's what they are. It's wind chimes made of light. You gotta go find it.
Wind chime of light.
Its name is Zera. And it's telling you all this stuff. Oh, it shows you the past of Illidan, where he was born, and Illidan is a twin to Malfurion Stormrage. They were twins. Everybody knows Malfurion, big, huge, important druid. Illidan's got these golden eyes, and he's the golden child. So you're going through all of this quest lines to see all of Illidan's background, and you start seeing that maybe he wasn't doing everything wrong, and then all of a sudden you get to this new quest chain, and when you get to the end of this quest chain, Zera basically tells you that all along you were the bad guy because you went and killed Illidan, and how fucking dare you? Or if you didn't kill Illidan, there's actually 3 versions of this quest line. If you didn't kill Illidan, like your character specifically, you never went to Black Temple for whatever reason, even though you didn't kill him, you were complicit in his death. Or if you're a demon hunter, you're a noble soul and you served your master and you're a great person, but everybody else is the fucking scum of the universe. We the fucking heroes of Azeroth, are being told that we're the bad guys and have been since Burning Crusade, which completely disavows certain things that happened in lore since then. Anybody else want to jump in with me, or I'm going to keep going?
No, I mean, it's all right, first of all, the Illidari were not there. They haven't been a part of this until Legion decided to come out, which is Blizzard retconning Illidari.
Right.
Illidari were there. They just
weren't in the backside.
But yeah, all right. What part? Well, okay. We saw a couple of them. We saw one in the original Outlands, and maybe a couple of them here and there. But they were never a big part. Illidan never was like, "Hey, yo, dogs, I'm working against the Legion. Well, I'm trying to get these people dead." And he was just like, "No, I'm gonna kill you. How dare you interrupt my plans?"
I want to see Illidan say "yo, dog" to anybody. Like, I just need to see that.
But walks up to someone and says, "Yo, dog.
You're not prepared." What?
But seriously, he did not let us in. Like, we hate the Burning Legion, Illidan. We don't like them. If you let us in, we'll help you. We'll let you do what you were gonna do to stop the Legion. But no, he's gonna let his people torture everybody and all of this shit, and then we had to stop him.
Really, really bad shit. And as my paladin has been to Black Temple, okay, I helped kill Illidan. That's fine. You can say that. I
farmed Illidan, motherfuckers.
However, one, not only am I a paladin, so I'm part of the light anyway, which means I'm on the right fucking side, you moron. 2, I'm a fucking Draenei. Illidan was enslaving my goddamn people. I think I have a reason to be okay with fucking murdering him.
No,
Jesus.
We didn't really murder him, but,
No, we didn't, but we sent him away. And that's the thing, is this Zera
into
thing...
soul. Soul Prison.
Soul
Which is
Prison.
not like Soul Train, unfortunately, because I think Illidan would have a really good time just getting funky, but...
They have like this whole dance going
Yeah.
on. Like the little dance train thing they got going on. It'd be great.
But no,
Put
unfortunately...
bars in their face.
Oh god, his horns would get stuck.
Yeah. But it's just weird that they're all of a sudden trying to tell us that we've been the bad guys. Not to mention you have other classes and races, like the Death Knights, the Goblins, and the Worgens, and the Pandaren, who all came after Burning Crusade and could have in no way influenced what happened with Illidan.
Well, the Death Knights could have, because the Death Knights were nothing more
That's
than
true, but they were
essentially-
really not anything, like, the Death Knights were off in their own place. Like, I
Yeah,
understand
they
that
weren't
Arthas
freed
and...
until Wrath of the Lich King, so they were still part of the Lich King's
Yeah.
army.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is some of those Death Knights could have died, like, either during the Burning Crusade or before it or something. Or
That-
Okay, I'll
that's-
give you the Death Knights. I'll give you the Death Knights, but the Worgens and the Goblins and the Pandaren all came well after. The Worgen have no way at all of participating because they've been locked up in fucking Gilneas. I mean, they've been, like, just off by themselves. The Goblins
Pandas
haven't
have
been
been,
part
like,
of
off in
anything.
their own little island.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's no way they could have.
way that those three, for sure, could have had any participation, being complicit or not, in Illidan's fall. So
Yeah.
how can this quest chain tell them that they're bad for not even being there?
It's just a bad storytelling, and I mean, the big part of the, like, there's one line in the whole thing. His redemption, or his revival, will be your redemption. It's like, my redemption, my
I don't need to be
redemption,
redeemed.
motherfucker. All right, first of all, the Death Knights look at that sumbitch and be like, you're a dumb motherfucker. First of all, I'm a knight of the Ebon Blade. I broke free of my master's control. I killed my master, and I freed my people. That's my fucking redemption. I don't need your dumb little wind chime bullshit letting me fucking get redemption. It's like, no, fuck that. I've done what I need to do.
Yeah.
I've stopped a killer dragon. I've stopped a Shah. I've stopped another invasion.
Well, and that's
I've
the
done
thing is
enough.
it completely disavows, because in order to participate in the stuff that happened in the Mist of Pandaria, you had to have been pure of heart, and you had to have been like cream of the crop, good guy, or else you would never have gotten anywhere with the pandas anyway.
Yeah.
So you're completely saying that we're completely wrong, the pandas were wrong, all of their shit was wrong, which pandas fucking hate them, but this is what you've written into lore. So you're throwing that out the window, and then there's the opposite theory. We're going to theory craft a little bit here, that maybe Zera's not what we think she is. Either, or it is, because it doesn't have a gender. It's either not actually a Naru and something pretending to be a Naru that's really from the void, or the Naru is more like a cult. And there are different factions of Naru, and that's given credence because Adal, the Hand of Adal, was the Naru that was at Black Temple that led the charge on the Black Temple, sent us there to deal with Illidan.
Yeah, like that's fucked up. A Naru is telling us we're bad guys for killing Illidan, yet a Naru led us to kill Illidan.
So
So, like-
something weird is going on. Either Blizzard's storytelling department is falling down on the job and hoping that nobody will care, or as things unfold, we're going to find out that we're being misled somehow.
Maybe we'll get another fact checker in whenever BlizzCon happens, because
Ooh.
someone else will point it out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be like,
Check
oh,
your
yeah.
fucking facts. This is the second time, Blizzard.
we get
So,
another red
if-
shirt guy.
If you've managed to listen to our rant this far, and you're a WoW player, because I imagine that's mainly who's going to be listening to this, how do you feel this is going to go? You think Blizzard's failing it up? Or do you think that we're going to get a whole bunch of, like, misdirection? Oh my god, because so far there's been so much misdirection in this campaign. And that's just kind of how the Void is. Like, that's what the Legion does. Is they're all bad dudes. Bad things.
I am totally okay for misdirection, but if this is the road they want to go, fuck Illidan, fuck the Naru, fuck all this bullshit storytelling stuff. I
I've
don't
already
need
about had it
redemption.
with Velen and his Naru anyway, with the whole Elun's just a Naru that lives on the backside of the moon and your shit's, not real. No, fuck you, Velen, and all your shit that you're preaching right now. Fuck
Well,
you.
he may
And
not
I'm
know
a
any better.
Janai. Anyway. Yeah, so let us know what you think about that. We've got the whole post up on the website, infiniterespawn.com. Go there. You can talk about it there at length. If you want to be brief about it, tweet at us at InfiniteResPC and let us know how you feel about this stuff. Or if you're watching this potato on YouTube, you can leave a comment down below. Good times.
Potato. Anyway. But
Potato,
yeah,
potato.
it's so weird that they're doing this, and I hope that it's all just misdirection to something.
I hope it is too.
So
anyway, and we all know we're talking about Blizzard, so let's just go ahead and make the worst transition ever in news. Blizzard has Overwatch, right? Well, there's this other game called Paladins,
Champions of the Realm.
That
my
looks
goodness.
strangely similar to Overwatch.
You say strangely similar, and I say carbon copy.
Yeah, there's been both sides of the road on this, where people are like, oh, it's totally the same, it's a blatant ripoff, and then others that are like, no, it's totally intrinsically different, and they were developed at different times. And so basically, the guy who's making the game, he actually went to Reddit to have a conversation, like an open conversation about how it's not a clone and it's not a ripoff, and they've been developing Paladins since 2010, and it's just coincidental that it looks the same, or not the same. Watch the video. There's a link on the website that you can watch. You can look at their Steam page and watch the intro video and everything like that. The similarities are pretty astounding, and I understand the game's been in development for a while. Overwatch came out earlier this year in May, so it'd be kind of rushed if they had just now put this all together based on Overwatch, and it looks a little too polished for that. But I don't know. I don't know where I stand on this one, you guys. Like, I
think it's a combination of two things. We've kind of discussed this ahead of time. My thought process is this: I think this game has been developed since 2010, but I think at some point they decided to go ahead and model some of their already created characters very similarly to artwork that they were already looking at. I don't know why you would want to do that. Like, I feel like you would want to do the opposite, right?
Yeah,
if you go, some of my shit looks really similar to what's going on. This is one of the most popular games out there. Let me change this so I don't get this flack, right?
But they didn't, and I think that's part of the reason why they're getting such flack. It's an open beta now if you want to play it. It's on Steam.
And free to play.
Yeah, and it's free to play, so we'll get to see what Overwatch would look like if it was free to play. But some of the characters, like, they have an actual character that looks like Reaper, and they've got a mech that flies up in the air, kind of like what Pharah does, and they've got a Junkrat-like character, and they've got a Torbjorn and a Reinhardt, and they've got all of these characters that are super, super similar. I mean, the Lady Sniper, they've got, like, Widowmaker. She's got, like, poison traps, like Widowmaker does. Things like that. It's just, they've got one character that's like Roadhog that's got the hook that'll pull you down and then he shoots you in the face. It's a one-shot kill. You've got a character like Mei that does Ice Block, and I'll give you Ice Block is a mage spell, and they have it on like a mage caster. Okay, fine. That's completely coincidental and whatnot. And I mean, the game looks good. It looks pretty polished. It just looks a lot like Overwatch.
Well, to be fair, you could even say the same thing about the hook guy with the gun, the shot, shooting the person in the face. Because to me, every time I think of somebody getting a hook or something sent at them and pulled toward them, I think of Mortal Kombat. I think of Scorpion.
Yeah, but then he was
get
gonna punch
over
you in the
here,
face.
and then.
But Scorpion doesn't pull out a big ass gun and shoot him in the face.
Maybe he should. Maybe it'd be more effective.
But I'm saying it is completely possible that two people that are in the gaming world could come up with that same idea based on just Scorpion by himself.
Right. I mean,
Right.
I don't discount
Like,
that
I mean,
they came up with the idea
listen
themselves.
to how many people that she pointed out that were very similar to champions that were in Overwatch, though. Like, one or two of them, okay, kind of coincidental. But to have that many that look very similar and act very similar to the characters, though.
Yeah, but I mean, my thing is I think if you're creating a game, all right, you're talking about a game that just came out in May, so if you're creating a game, it's going to take a good amount of time for development. The Overwatch took a long time for development, and this one supposedly started in 2010. Came to development. This reason I said I think it's kind of a combination of two things, but again, I don't understand why you would want to do this. I think it's one of those where they're trying to capitalize off of the success of Overwatch, but I think they had a game that was very similar already, and have modeled their stuff to lean that direction. Now, it could be that they hired a guy that formerly worked with Blizzard at one point back in 2010 or 2009, and he moved over and was trying to get this shit out before Overwatch came out. Any of that's possibility. But I would like to kind of see who the makeup of the company is and see if any of these people have a Blizzard background at all, because it is very weird.
Or connection. Like, it could have been one of those things where they're friends with somebody that was an alpha tester or like a QA tester for Blizzard when they were in early development with Overwatch, and was like, oh man, they've got these characters and these characters. Because to be fair, Soldier 76, like we mentioned last week, was developed in 1995. I mean, that's how old 76 is. And they've got a character that is almost exactly like him. And I will give you that 76, I will excuse that one. 76 is your typical kind of grizzled assault rifle dude. Okay, fine. I'll give you that one. They have a similar one in both games, whatever. But some of the other ones that are a little more specific, like your Junkrat one, it's just, he's got a grenade launcher and a thing that turns him into a bomb that he can roll at people, like Junkrat's Rip Tire. The guy, I wish I could remember his name because that's who they're kind of like selling the game with. It's their tank guy.
Reinhardt?
Well, no, Reinhardt's the version that's in Overwatch. There's
the
other one. And I'm looking to scroll through here because they talk about him a whole lot. He's the one that you get the free skin for if you're playing the beta, I think. He's got a small shield when he is playing his normal style, but his ultimate essentially is Reinhardt's big shield where you hold it up and it shields the whole team. So it is weird that they have some that are super, super similar. Their Reaper version, it looks a lot like Reaper, but with one shotgun instead of two. I guess they thought Overwatch was being excessive with 2 shotguns. So
You never have too many shotguns.
see, that's my version. You can never have too many, but I guess maybe Paladins thought you could. So 1 is enough for this guy. I don't know his name, but
Evidently they haven't bought the Flood then.
right.
Well, I'll probably give the game a try because it's free to play, and I want to give it. What most of the comments are saying it's
Overwatch without the Overwatch.
No,
That was
it's
one
a
of the
poor
comments.
man's Overwatch.
No, I was actually reading you a quote. It's from a player named Vegans on Steam. It's like Overwatch, but without Overwatch. That's the comment. And it was a positive one. It's fine. You can't afford to play Overwatch. This is free to play. Go for it. Check it out. It's free. What's it gonna hurt?
Yeah, so I mean it may do okay, but Overwatch is so cleanly done and well polished. It's, to be fair, trying to go up against Blizzard is, which I know they're not trying to specifically go up against Overwatch. They're just creating a game very similar, and competition is always good. Maybe they're going to figure out something Blizzard hasn't done.
Your competition is always a good thing, but the other thing to look at too on this is the fact that if you look at to the average observer, okay, the person that doesn't play the game, you're looking at like MOBAs, for instance. Some of the stuff that they have on there is very similar, and somebody started that particular genre that was on there. So you're gonna have people that are going to come in and try to capitalize off of something as popular as Overwatch is. And I mean, if you think about it this way too, we were also doing the same thing with
I just lost audio.
Battleborn. We were doing the same thing with it, right? So is it Battleborn?
Battleborn's
right?
the Gearbox one.
Yeah. So like with it, I mean, it was kind of one of those things where both of these were coming out at the same time. Now granted, they didn't have characters that looked exactly the same, but they did have the same.
I mean, their Reaper dude even has
style.
like a white mask and all.
Right. So, yeah, but I mean, I think that you're going to end up having people that are going to come in and do this with any type of game that's out there. But I mean, it's just weird to me that you've got that all this stuff is so similar, but at the same time, I also understand that developing wise, it takes a while to develop, and there's no way that somebody in May goes, "Oh, this looks like a great idea. Let me come out with a game real quick," you know. You know,
yes and no. I think that if they took the inspiration from Blizzard, it was not during the release in May. I think it would have been a lot earlier than that, obviously, because the game does look pretty good. But I do think that they saw some of the things, and I think he actually said at one point that they liked some of the aesthetic of Overwatch and ended up borrowing ideas, quote unquote. Borrowing. Fernando is the name of their tank. I finally found it. Yes.
Fernando.
Yeah,
Yep.
Fernando.
Reinhardt, Fernando, Paladin.
Yeah. But it's just weird that it's so similar. It is like trying to cash in on something because it's familiar, and for people that can't afford it, maybe they can afford your microtransactions instead, because I'm sure it'll have some, or else how are they going to support it?
Right.
Oh yeah, definitely we'll have
Here,
microtransactions.
give us $5 and you can unlock this skin.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyways, when we mentioned MOBAs, League of Legends is actually in the news as well. It's weird that you accidentally tried to transition Oak. Nice job.
I'll do my best.
I'm gonna let Chicken take the lead on this one because he has been following this a lot closer than I have.
I haven't even turned on my League of Legends in months now.
Chicken played it yesterday, actually.
The last time that I played it after last night was April 6th was the last game that I played. 4 months ago. 5 months ago. It was a long time.
Well, I mean, Overwatch came out, and then we were busy with all the stuff that came out this summer, so...
Yeah. They have a new game mode called All Random Ultra Rapid Fire mode. Basically, everybody... It's basically, everybody gets a random champion, and it's Ultra Rapid Fire mode, which basically means super high cooldowns, half healing, a bunch of crazy shit. It's wild. It's fun. But what's been going on in the league community is eSports is new. It's fresh. It's people are starting to get into it. Like, they've got a bunch of high profile people that are kind of getting into it. I mean, Shaq, I think, bought a team. He's
Shaq, like the basketball player?
Yeah, he's super interested.
Is he going to teach him Shaq Fu?
I hope so.
It's going to be one of the plays that they make. But anyway, everybody's trying to get into this. It's new, it's different, and there's a lot of money to be made in there. Well, money to be made in there. One of the big issues was that teams are having a problem with being able to make money. Like, currently, when a team wins Worlds, they have skins made after the team.
Yeah, skins based on them. Like, one guy's got headphones and things like that. Like, specific traits about them.
Yeah, they have logos all over them, bunch of cool stuff. The teams make no money off of that. Riot makes all the money off of that. Riot gives the teams a stipend, and then that's what the teams have to use for money. They cannot advertise during their games. They cannot. They basically can't get sponsors and advertise for those sponsors to make more money. They're really close-fisted on what kind of money the teams can make, and that hurts the companies. Like, one of the founders of TSM, the
Team
founder,
Solomid.
yes, Reggie, has to put all of his money in there to, like, coaches, psychologists, which I think TSM is one of the very few teams that have sports psychologists, which really changes your mental attitude towards the game. Like, you treat it like a sport, like a job. It's super important to have the right mindset, never get tilted, which in league terms, tilted means basically when you get smashed by someone, you're like, oh, and then you make another mistake, and then you get mad at yourself.
I know all about what being tilted is like.
Yeah, Griff is awful at tilting. When she dies, she just fucking falls over and just
Sometimes.
So
has a hard time
basically,
coming back from
it's
it.
having one mistake cause you to
yeah.
make more than one.
So they help with that attitude and whatnot. And it came out, and Mark Merrill, who's the owner of Riot, came out and it's fucked up, said some dumb things.
Yeah, he said some things I think that were probably heat of the moment things.
Yeah, so that came out wrong, started a huge controversy. And now some of the things that Riot is planning to do to change the way people are making money. I'll sum it up with this article. In a long open letter titled eSports Now and in the Future, the eSports division cited 3-step path: fandom, economics, and stability. The championship skin and awards from now on, 25% of the revenue from each year's championship skin and championship award will be added to the world's prize pool. Good. More money for the teams to win, more competition, things like that, so the teams can have a bigger income. Challenger skin, similarly, 25% of the revenue from each year's Challenger skin will be added to the MSI prize pool. MSI is the mid-season invitational. I think it's 2 teams from every continent get invited to a big tournament in the middle of the year, and a big prize pool, so that's good. Team championship skins, which we were just talking about, teams will actually make money off of that now. So it will go to the team, which is good. Maybe they'll start selling in league terms, or I guess in sports terms, jerseys for your characters in game.
And then
weird. Yeah, then that money can go towards the team, which is good. They need to make money. Teams need to be able to increase their income so they can spend better. Because people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on players at this point. Like, talent is...
It's a sport. You
Yes.
spend a lot of money for the top athletes, essentially.
Yep, totally. And new and improved, I didn't read this one, so I'll go ahead and read this real quick.
He's really
Yeah,
fired.
I just said I was reading real quick. This one was long. So I guess digital goods, so team awards and things like that, they'll go to the teams too, which is nice.
They're offering a new bit of revenue essentially for the teams instead of it being all through just did you win this championship and things like that. It's
Right.
It's a bit for it. It's opening the door for them to make more money. I don't think that it's the final solution, but I
No.
think that it's part of the solution.
Yes, it is definitely going in the right direction. Teams have a hard time right now because it's basically you get what Riot gives you and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
you can't make any. You're under contract to not basically make extra money off the side. So
I find this quite interesting, like the model that they had originally set up to where basically Riot was distributing all this. What's interesting to me is the fact that, like, at least in the U.S., I'm not really sure how it works with like large soccer leagues and things like that, but I know the NFL is the thing that most of us can because of, you know, the big large game that's played every single beginning of February and all that type of stuff. NFL is something that we can all kind of relate to, and basically the way the NFL has always set their stuff up is they've set it up to where the teams themselves make a certain amount of money, the NFL makes a certain amount of money, but as for, like, in their particular case, the league itself might say, okay, we want a contract with Nike, and so every single uniform that's used is gone through Nike. But as for the stadiums themselves, because that's something they can market, the stadiums themselves, maybe even other advertisement and things like that, whatever endorsement that they want to do inside the stadium itself, it's up to the owner and the teams to make that happen. So I think this is kind of an E-version of that, right? Where you're allowing for certain things that you didn't before in order to be able to generate more revenue to allow you to be able to pay for better players. One of the, and I think that this is going to actually help esports in a lot of ways because of the fact that you are going to be able to get some of these, because I feel like I hear the same teams when you all talk about, like, League of Legends and things like that. The same ones are coming up.
Yep.
And I think it's because of the model they had set up, versus turning around and going, okay, we've generated enough revenue, maybe we can get this guy off this other team and have him come in, bring in whatever it is, and kind of shake things up a little bit, other than somebody just getting pissed off and leaving and going somewhere else because he doesn't like the way the team itself is managed. So it ought to be quite interesting, I think, because, like, from an NFL standpoint, I actually told Griff this the other day. I thought it was kind of something that was kind of cool. In 1989, the current owner of the Dallas Cowboys purchased in 1989 the Dallas Cowboys for $140 million, which is a lot of money. Mm-hmm. It's now worth $4.2 billion. So he was able to figure out a way to generate enough income to make that happen by marketing and doing other things like that. And I think that it can do the same thing from an esports standpoint. I think they can actually, the owners have a better job of being able to do that than the actual Riot itself can. Riot needs to concentrate on their game and whatever it is they need to do with it and allow the others to be able to generate some type of income. So it's kind of cool too, because you can keep people happy and they're not having to, find other ways to make money.
Yeah. Do you know if player swapping and selling has to go through the NFL, or can the teams do it on their own?
It has to go. It has to go through. Part of it's through the NFL, but most of it is just on their own, I believe.
Okay.
So basically, they have to. Anytime there's a player swap, there's got to be some type of physical that's taking place, right?
Right.
Drug test, all that type of stuff needs to be redone in order for the trade to be able to go through, and they have to be NFL eligible, which is why they have to go through that physical to make that happen. The other thing is that there has to be some type of compensation that is legal through the NFL, because with the NFL you have drafting, right?
Right.
So where they take the college kids and they bring them up into the professional world. Well, when they do the drafting process, you can only have so many spots that you're allowed to pick in the draft. And that's something that's on the NFL side of it. So if you turn around and you go, okay, I'll offer you a 3rd round pick and then for this particular person, right, in the NFL, then they'll go, no, you already have too many picks. So you got to figure another way to make that trade happen. But I think that for the most part, it's just between the two teams, and they just have to agree on it. So.
Yeah. One of the problems with the way League is that Riot has full iron grip over everything. Like, if you want to make a new team, you have to get it Riot approved. If you want to trade new players, it has to be Riot approved. If you want to get a contract, it has to be Riot approved. Everything has to be...
they have a monopoly on everything.
Yes, they have 110% control over every single thing that happens. Tournaments, Riot only. Prize pools, Riot only. Only Riot stuff is allowed to happen with esports.
Well, if they weren't making an effort in order to help try and change that now, I could tell you now that it would probably end up being like how the Nintendo was when the original Nintendo was out. Nintendo had control over everything that came out on the system. There were like third-party developers here and there that tried to, not use the cartridges and try to make their own, and they got put a stop to very quickly on it, but it ended up being kind of bad in the long run for Nintendo having so much control of that, because now you have things like, PlayStation, Xbox, these, systems that came out, like the Sega Genesis, that went, hey, you guys want to make this kind of game or whatever on it, we'll go ahead and, approve it, bring it on over here. So it would end up making kind of like a competition, I would assume.
Yeah.
Well, but I think that the other thing is you got to remember you're talking about League of Legends in general, which is their game, correct?
Right.
So think about it from a professional sports standpoint, which is in this case they own the game you're playing.
Right.
So therefore they have the right to dictate exactly how all the tournaments are done, everything else, and they're the only ones that can sponsor, do whatever that is. And it's the same way with the NFL, right? They're the ones that create the schedule. They're the ones that have their big game at the end of the year, playoffs, everything else that goes along with it. So they're creating that. It's when you get to the individual team standpoint, the NFL still has final say. They could turn around and go, okay, you can't put a cigarette brand in, as a sponsor, because that goes against our league policy. Right. I think that's what they should do, and kind of give a little more freedom to the teams. Yeah, and I think that from that standpoint they should. But I think that they have the right to be able to do that. The same way with Dota or any of your other MOBAs that are out there. If you're coming out and Heroes of the Storm, Blizzard should have the right to be able to create their own tournaments, do everything else that's on there, because it's their product.
Right.
And ultimately, that's the reason they're creating that product. But then you can turn around and go, all right, I'm a really good Heroes of the Storm player, but when it comes to League of Legends, okay, right?
Right.
But you could switch gears and say, okay, I don't want to play this anymore. I want to play League of Legends. And so then you switch, and when you do that, a lot of times, like with the NFL, you have CFL and which is the Canadian Football League and things like that. They have different groups you can send them to. If you're not quite good enough for the NFL, but we think you might be later, we'll send you to another group. They need some type of minor league that's set up if they don't have one.
They have the promotion tournament, which are for the littler teams that try to work their way up, and that's another issue that a lot of people have come into is franchising. Any team. All right, let's put it in NFL terms. Say, we'll go with my team, the Lions. They a few years ago they went 0-13.
Right.
If you go that way in League of Legends, if you lose your games, you're automatically you're kicked out of the league and you can't participate professionally anymore. It's super dangerous for teams like that. Like, if you do not have a good run, then you have a chance of losing everything. It's really harsh, really punishing for teams that are trying to build up. If you don't have money, if you don't have the players, you just can't do it.
So you could actually generate more money than by actually having a set up minor league, which is the same way that like with professional soccer, there's minor leagues that are on there. It's what we call semi-pro, right?
Right.
So Like you might have probably the most popular league in the entire world when it comes to soccer is the English Premier League. Well, England actually has 4 leagues, and so you would have guys that would be pretty good in college but not great, whatever, still can make a little bit of a living, and turn around and then maybe they improve a little bit, so now they get to go to the next league. But what they did in those leagues is they set it up to, if you win the championship for, let's say, the secondary league, right? If you win the championship for that, you get the opportunity to play in the big leagues the next year. If you were the bottom of the list, you now move to the bottom, the next one down. So they swap places, right?
Okay.
So that gives an option for those teams to give the opportunity to play. And it's really kind of cool, too, if you see the history of how those leagues work, in the fact that there are people that used to be in the bottom league that are now permanently in the big league because they just do so well. But they changed how they played the game a little bit. And I think that Riot will really benefit from that, because you have those people that are going to learn how to play the game, and then they're just going to get better. And as things change, they're going to continue to get better. And it gives them that opportunity to move up. But then you're going to have people that maybe they've lost a player or whatever. They're just not jiving the way they need to, so they're not winning. It gives them that opportunity to make their way back up if they drop out, right?
Yeah, that's actually kind of similar to how it works. Like, if you're bottom of the league, you go into what they call a promotion tournament, which you face the lower teams, and then whoever wins that gets the slot in the LCS. But the problem with that is that it happened recently. Cloud9 is a professional team. They're one of the big dogs in the league tournaments. They had a Cloud9 challenger team. They had one of the best players in the world. His name is Hai. He's a tactical genius. He's super smart, and it's highly unfair for for him to go up against these challenger teams, which are new, trying to earn their stripes in the league. They just whooped everybody's ass in here. Got a slot in LCS, and then because it's against the rules to have 2 teams under, they just sold their slot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was kind of
that's
shady.
where it kind of brings up, like, they work their way up, they get a slot in the LCS, and then they sell it off. So that really
doesn't seem right in any way whatsoever.
It hurts.
To me, it sounds like the person that they played, because technically you should be disqualified, right?
He's retired, but they put him on they put a bunch of professional players on a challenger team to beat all the other challenger teams trying to work their way up so that they could guarantee their slot, and then they would just sell it off afterwards.
That's just rigged.
Yeah, it is rigged, and it's really painful for those teams that are really trying to make their way in this. They come up against professional players of that magnitude and then get stopped, and then
do you think they did it because of the money situation?
They
sold it because they needed the money?
More than likely, and that comes back to the money issue, where teams just don't have enough money, so they just go ahead and abuse the system like that and sell a slot, because those slots can go for like $1-2 million.
See, what I would do if I was Riot or any of these other companies that are trying to do this tournament stuff, I would actually go to cities, major cities, doesn't matter what it is, and say, okay, look, we've got this particular team, okay, and 3 of their members, okay, because it's a 5-man team, right? Well, right. I guess there's more
Plus
than that,
because
you got subs, right? So let's say we've got 3 of their members that are from this city. We're doing everything based out of the city. Of course, I know that everybody's trying to get as close to a hub as they possibly can, but they're doing everything based out of this city. What do you think about us attaching your city to us, right? So we'll use Los Angeles, for example. So you could say Los Angeles Cloud9, right? So It's like now you have something to back that up, and then you've got a higher population, so you've got more gamers that are going to be involved, because now they have somebody to back that's from their own city.
Right.
Even if it's even if it's just like professional sports, not everybody's from the same city, but at least you would have something that was on there. And there might be a way to do it and handle it in a way, and also allow for money wise. LA might be with their sports, and because just about every city has some type of sports and tourism commission. Now you can possibly back them doing that, and then they can put a smaller tournament in the same area and with Riot's approval, and boost it up to get a slot inside the
That's actually kind of a pretty decent idea. Like, it kind of identifies your team with a city and a location, and then they can have smaller tournaments to kind of find players in that city or bring people in. And yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of ideas that Riot can use, and eSports is new. I understand that. And like you said, everyone's trying to get to the hub so that they can have the lowest ping. And Riot definitely needs to create more server spots or increase their ping so that everybody has a fair chance, or do LAN tournaments, things like that. But
or you could just make it to where you have to have Google Fiber in order for us to be able to go there, right?
Well, that'll eliminate a lot of people then.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, LA, we got we'll go to Austin, we'll go
And that's it.
But yeah,
Georgia.
They're starting to help teams, but it's going to be a long, treacherous road to make all of esports work like a sport.
Well, hopefully they're on the right path now. They're going to continue to work. It's nice that Riot can hear from the teams and the owners and actually be like, all right, we heard what you said, guys. We're going to take this into account. We'll see what we can do. Hopefully there'll be more open discourse instead of everything being one-sided and Riot going, we are God, this is what you're doing.
Yes.
Well, yes. To be fair, too, one of the things the NFL players did is they created their own union. So
maybe that's what they need to do.
Yeah, and what that allowed them to do is allowed them for, just like any union set up to, it's for a safe working environment, right?
Right.
And then also allowed them to say, okay, you're generating money off of us just as much as we're generating money off you. You're generating money off of us. We need to have this to kind of coincide, which is why you end up with. It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes there are NFL strikes and things like that happen too, because they don't feel that they're being as appreciated as they are, which when you're dealing with the NFL, you're dealing with, when it comes to sports, it is in the U.S., it generates more money than any others, all the rest of the sports that are professional in the United States combined. It actually generates nearly twice that amount. So you think about how popular some of these sports are that are out there. NFL, for its 16-game season plus playoffs and its major game at the end of the year, is actually generating a ton of revenue, and these players are help generating that, right?
Right.
Well, from a gaming standpoint, I could be wrong on this, but I would believe that Riot's game is generating more money than just about anybody else is.
Oh, yes, by a long shot. They have 2 tournaments a year, a mid-season game that we talked about, and then the World Championships that brings all the teams across the world to participate. So
if you've got all those that are on there, create a union.
Yeah, I mean, so
because
right.
Honestly, if I can sit and I can go to a full-time job, which I might or might not enjoy, go do a full-time job and make more money than I would be playing this video game, then and you're generating and you're making however hundreds of millions of dollars you are, and I'm helping you generate that because I'm generating buzz, whether it's on Twitch or whether it's for the tournaments, whatever it happens to be, I deserve a portion of that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And so that's where it needs to help in there. So if you create a union, now you've got them in a pickle. Okay, we're going to go on strike. So now all these people that have been doing that,
One of the things is I don't know how much downtime professional football players have. I know they've got the off season where they can do what they want, vacations and things like that. But unfortunately for league players,
it's like 2 weeks, isn't it?
Okay, so the spring
like
tournament starts in January and goes through I think March or April. The tournament starts in the playoff tournament starts in like a couple of weeks after that, so it goes through April and May, and then the mid-season starts in June and July, and then the next part starts I think at the end of July and goes through the mid part of August and September, and then World starts in September or October, all the way through October. They have a little bit of time in November if they weren't invited to a tournament, and then they have December to free, and then they're right back at it in January again. So they have very little time to spend any of their money if they make any. That's why some big players have to stream to make money, because they really do hurt for it after a while. So
Well, and the other thing you're looking at too, because you're not generating as much money as you would if you were an NFL football player. Because I think the league minimum now is like $200,000 or some ridiculous amount, or
like
more.
That.
You know, right? It's like, oh, you're on the bench. Here's $200,000. You know, but I think that from they need a little bit more time off, because I mean, my deal is the game doesn't change much. And
yes,
I get
it does.
Yes,
that's
it
part of
does.
the problem. Is part of the thing that
Really?
the owners are upset about.
Yeah, if you can't keep up, you're replaced.
Well, part of the thing that the owners are upset about right now too is Riot's been releasing patches during tournament seasons and everything. So you're like, basically, it's like, okay, we're going fine. This is our main team comp. We like these champions. We like this kind of rotation. We're playing this way. And then Riot's like, oh, you like that? We nerfed this champion. We buffed that champion that you don't know anything about because you're not used to playing against him. We did all of these changes, and it's in the middle of tournaments.
Yeah.
So they're having to like relearn the game real quick.
I tell you what I would like about that, and let me explain what I would like about it, because they pick their champions at the beginning. They have every champion available to them, right? They don't limit who's champion.
You have picks and bans. Every team gets to ban. Is it 3?
It's 3 on each side, and then all right. So it goes team 1 bans, team 2 bans, back and forth, and then team 1 gets the first pick, team 2 gets 2 picks, and then back and forth until team 2 gets the last pick.
And you can't have 2 of the same champion. Is that correct?
Yes, you cannot have 2.
So you can't have like both teams are going mid Ezreal for some reason. You can't have that.
See, I'd almost like it to be where like you go through your whole tournament, right?
Right.
When you get to the championship game, there's seriously just a bowl full of sheets of paper with every champion's name on it, or whatever classes, whatever it happens to be, and set it up. And you're like, okay, with this one, team A, you're playing this. Team B, you're playing this. Whatever, and set it up to where now it's based completely off skill that's set up.
But each champion's skill is gonna be different. Like they're intrinsically different. It's not everybody that goes mid plays this way. That's not how it works.
Yeah, say team. It's just a simple thing. TSM was a really good team, and because Reggie made a stupid promise and somebody would play Teemo. Teemo's a terrible hero to play professionally. One of their team, and the best team in North America lost to one of the lower teams because of that one single champion.
Yep, because they decided to play Teemo, and it didn't work. Like it's one of those things where you have certain picks and bans, and you watch other teams and how they play so that you can learn their play styles as well. It's the same thing with football. It's all of a sudden being like, well, all of the linebackers are now going to be tight ends because you should be able to swap around, right? And things like that, like completely throwing everybody off their game and going, well, it's skill, so go. Well, but that's unfortunately not how it works.
Yeah, all right. Last season, everybody was playing, and they were all playing the way they were. And right before Worlds, they completely shifted the meta. Basically, the meta is what's strong, mid lane strong, bottom strong. They completely reworked a few champions, buffed the hell out of a bunch of other ones, and completely made the game top centric. Like there's 3 lanes. Top is where the bruisers are. They completely changed the way bruisers worked, added a bunch of new items, and everybody was like caught with their pants down going,
everybody's like, what do these things do? How do they work? Is this balanced?
But to be fair on that one, and I'm looking at it from a sporting standpoint, okay?
Right.
But to be fair on that one, if both conditions for both teams are the same, and from a gaming standpoint, you both have to adjust according to what is handed to you, I like that idea.
But some people are already more proficient and have been practicing specific things, watching other teams. Like, I know that so-and-so plays around mid lane, they're really good at it, and then they come out and it's like mid lane is absolute garbage now. Like,
mid lanes don't matter anymore.
You can't play around that anymore, so that team is automatically gimped. It's like, oh, but all 300 hours I've been practicing around this kind of play style due to this patch has just been completely nullified because you decided to change it up right before the biggest tournament of the year.
Well, and it really sucks when you launch patches and then it's up to the pro players that are on a tournament scene in the tournament to find out how unbalanced you just made the game. Like, you're like, I buffed this person and nerfed this person and it seemed to work just fine, and then you get it in the pro setting and you're like, holy shit, that buff makes that guy unstoppable. and that team is gonna win everything as long as they can pick or ban him first.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
last year they broke a champion so bad that he had to be banned every single game, no matter what. If he was picked or fell through the cracks, the team won automatically. Like, it was just so unfair. He was so overpowered. And Mordekaiser, by the way.
So the better option on that is when the season's over, right?
And make one patch, and then let everybody play it.
Do it well. And the thing is you could probably. I mean, how long is you said? Well, you said they only get a couple weeks, right?
They get from the end of August through to the end of September, so they get about a month of practice time.
Okay, what I would do is this. Because I'm thinking again from a sporting standpoint. You've just got guys that have been played through this whole damn tournament, right?
Right.
And you've got guys that have won. All right. So now they've got a month before they've got to start doing all the shit again. I'd say give them 2 months, which is about what it would be for a regular professional player before they like regular sports, before they go out and have to start working out again, make sure they get in shape, blah blah blah, all the other stuff they got to do. Right. 2 months is reasonable. Go ahead and release whatever patch you want to release in that 2 month period. Release another one right when the season hits, and then don't touch the game again until the next year.
Yeah, that's kind of what they do. They have already released the Worlds patch, so everybody is playing on what is going to be played on as the Worlds patch. And then after the Worlds, they do a huge overhaul of preseason changes. So everything changes, everything updates, all this cool stuff after Worlds is done. And then they release one final patch right before the next LCS starts off, so that everybody's got a few weeks to play on it and get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, as long as there's time given, instead of it being like you're in the middle of a tournament series, so here's a new patch.
Yeah,
enjoy that, you guys.
So that's what they do.
It's just dumb.
Yeah, it is dumb. It'd be
but
like,
I like setting up perimeters too. Like I like the idea of, okay, you've learned how to play this way, but I'm gonna flip it on head. Give them time to learn it, right? But like just flip it on head, and then 2 months later flip it again, so another direction. So when the actual championship hits, you got 5 or 6 ways you've had to learn how to play the game, and we're going to throw something at you.
Right. That's fine. Like, that's what they kind of do during LCS. They buff and nerf champions as the tournament goes on and things like that. But the problem was when they would literally turn the game upside down right before the biggest tournament of the year, and everybody was just like,
crazy.
What the hell?
Here you go. 2 days before tournament starts. Boom! This is how the tournament's going to be laid out.
You're like,
Learn it, guys.
no.
Reggie made the perfect example. It'd be like if you practice the whole off season in basketball. You practice the whole off season. You were ready. First game, they gave you the ball, and it weighed as much as a bowling ball.
Yep.
And everybody was like, how am I supposed to play with this? I don't know. Just go ahead and play.
Drop it on your foot.
Yeah, so it completely changes the game with no chance to practice.
Well,
Granted, I don't think anybody can play like that.
Hopefully they're going to fix that. I know we're running really long on time. There's one more thing that I wanted us to kind of sort of at least brush over before we call it for the day, and that is Ubisoft's going to change the Division a little bit. The Division went quiet because everybody didn't really like the direction that they went with it. There was a lot of exploits in it, and there were certain things that you had to have in order to be a viable player. There were certain ways that you had to build your character, certain items. If you didn't have a certain gear score, you're likely to get insta-kicked from a group because they just don't think that you're good enough. And Ubisoft wants to address that and change some things so that you can avoid being forced into how you play, so that it can be more about what you want to play instead of what you have to play in order to go. The question here, I guess, is do you think that a change this far into an online game like that, do you think this kind of shift is going to bring back the player base that they had when the game came out?
Oh, no, that player base is long gone. But it may bring people back to kind of play it again. Like, I like the game, and I'm never going to fucking trash it because the game was solid as hell. It was really, 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 really fun. But there are too many cheaters and exploiters.
Issues.
Yeah, that was not fun. That was not fun. But the instances, all that stuff, that was a lot of fun. Gear score works for games, but they need to understand they need to do it like Blizzard. Like, heroics require a minimum of 810. All right,
Yeah,
you're
your item level
810,
has to be
you're
810.
good to go. You're okay. You can queue for it. You can get in it. That's fine. Mythics require quite a bit higher. Heroics require 8, 10. I think I said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And mythics require a bit more, and
8:35, something like that. Minimum.
I think it's 8:30.
Yeah, 8:30 before you can even enter the dungeon, and that's okay. But keep it hidden from other players.
That's the problem,
thing.
though, is they have it on display, and other players, group leader will look at your gear score in the division and be like, your gear score is not what we want it to be, and insta-kick you. So it excludes you from playing content based on an arbitrary number, because you could be just as good as those people, but have chosen a different set of gear because of the perks or the specs on that gear versus
Or
what the higher
playstyle.
level.
Exactly.
Yeah. So they're going to try to rebalance some things and let it be more on skill and less on numbers.
But to answer your question, though, you said, do you think people are going to come back?
Mm-hmm.
I paid $60 for that game. Yeah. It's like I didn't get a chance to play it the way I wanted to.
Well, then you got to wonder, though, if you come back as a new player or a player who didn't make it that far to start with, are you going to be able to put in the time to get to that level and then still, be as ambitious at that point? You've got a lot of ground to cover, I suppose.
One of the main
I think
things
you
about
would.
games coming back is the most important is catch-up mechanics.
Yep.
They have to be able to make sure that even if you were left behind in the dust, there has to be a way for you to catch up.
I don't.
I guess we'll
I
see.
don't think there's a problem catching up in that game. I really don't.
If you
But,
have
I
to
mean-
grind everything and do all the dungeons and like get the one set of tier gear, one set of tier gear, one set of tier gear before you can finally get up to where everybody else is.
Yeah, I think if they can cut down some of the grind time, it'll be fine. That's what they had to do with World of Warcraft, is cut down how long it takes you to get from 1 to 20 and then 1 to 40 and then things like that. Like, the further you get along, the easier it is to do the earlier content, because you want to skip through that content to get to the end game or to get to the stuff that is now current content.
Well, and it's the same thing they tried to do with Destiny too. They just did a poor job of it.
Destiny.
We'll see if the Division does a better job of it.
Yes.
But
It's
I
like,
wanted
oh,
to
by
touch
the way,
on that.
your guy's gonna be up there, right there with your buddies. It's gonna be right up there. By the way, all the skill points you want, you got to grind for those.
Yeah.
What's
So
the
I
point?
thought since
You had
some
gears
of
better.
you had played the Division, I was gonna see if it would bring you back to play the Division.
like
I
the
need to go
Division.
back and play it. I liked it a lot. I just didn't get it. I didn't have enough time to play it the way I'd like to have. But yeah, I liked it a lot.
Ubisoft has a problem with cheaters and hackers. Like they just now have started fucking banning people in Rainbow
Yeah.
Six Siege. It's like,
Yeah.
what the hell, man? You should have had these things in place long before you released the game so that people couldn't exploit it so heavily.
Yeah, they need to take care of that. But maybe they'll address that. We'll see. But that's everything I wanted to make sure that we got to. Is there anything that I have missed for the week that you guys wanted to talk about?
EGX was this week, but we didn't talk about it. and
I
there's
think
not
there
a
was
whole lot
one
to
thing
it.
that I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember what it was now. Shit.
Well, if you think about it, post on the forums about it.
I will.
Ding 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 ding. The cover.
InfiniteRespawn.com. Go there. We have forums. If there's something that we missed, there's a post for everything that we talked about today. Just go to that post and tell us what we missed. Or if you wanted to add your 2 cents, go and do that there too.
Hang out on this YouTube channel for all the awesomeness of Griff's Let's Plays,
Yep. More
And click-
Bioshock on the way this week.
including Bioshock. Make sure you go to twitch.tv/InfiniteRespawn PC. Follow us there on Twitch. Hopefully our internets
We're
will be
doing
working
Mythics
correctly.
tomorrow. We're going to turn Mondays into Mythic Monday.
Mythic
Monday.
Huzzah.
Come watch us fail at things.
Monday. That's all I could think of in my head. It's like Monday.
Mythic Monday. Ready
Yeah.
for rectitude?
Oh my god, no.
I am. Man, we're gonna spend 3 hours in one dungeon.
God.
Anyway, yeah, with the YouTube stuff, by the way, I've got a new setup that I'm doing with audio, so I'm still tweaking that on how it sounds, as far as like my audio versus game audio and everything. So if some of it sounds a little loud and stuff, I'm working on it. I promise. We're gonna get it right. We will. So yeah. I think that's it. Is
Yeah,
there anything
that's
else?
it. That
That's
should
it.
be it.
All right, good times. Let's go, because Baka and I have some recording to do.
All right, we're gonna let that go. Sorry, no outro thing. I'm sorry for the potato guys, but hopefully it'll be better next week. And for all you audio listeners, thank you very much for joining us this episode.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.